we from Texas should know better. I mean, look at Goliad. The Molon Labe movement, that started right here in Texas. Remember the Alamo. That was us. That was our state. That was our ancestors. That's our birthright as Texans. So what are you doing to help protect the rights of yourself, your family, and your children? What are you doing? Have you emailed your congressman? Have you written them a letter? Have you called their office? Do you even know their names? I would wager that most people listening, I know most people in the country, but I would wager that a lot of people listening don't even know who their state representative is, who the elected person in their district is at the state house. Let me tell you, you should know, and you should be calling and bugging their office. You should be calling and demanding that they put forward some legislation to defend your freedoms. Now, we know Washington's not going to get anything done with a Democrat-controlled Senate, and here in Texas, there's nothing that can be done about that unless you want to volunteer to make phone calls for a senator in another state. Well, that's a very real possibility. That is something you can do. But for now, and the most effective thing we can do, is to get more involved at the state legislature. We need to get more involved with state politics and get them to pass laws that will prohibit and remove the federal government's disgusting abuses of our rights. Now, we'll never get rid of it completely, because these people that want to force you to act or do things a certain way by force exist. They're real. They live in our country. So they have to be fought constantly. Constantly. And if you don't believe me, if you don't think that these people don't need to be fought, if you don't think that these people exist, they're just a left-wing or socialist or commie from a different country or a different part of the nation that don't affect you, let me promise you, there are socialists and there are communists here in the state of Texas. There are corrupt people working the system here in Texas to try and get Democrats elected. There are people here in Texas trying to convince Texans to vote Democrat so that they can start raising taxes and spiking spending. That's a real thing. That's actually happening. And if you look at by what numbers the Republicans win in Texas, you should be worried. It's not a 90% victory every time. In fact, in most cases, it's closer to 60-40. And in that range, within 60 to 40%. That means in some cases, a candidate only wins by 55%. 5%, that's not much. That's a victory that can be taken from you. So you need to get involved at the state level. You need to be calling your state legislature. You need to be calling your state congressman, the senator, and the representative. You need to be calling them and the governor's office to leave a message, to talk to them, write them letters, email them. If there's a town hall, be there. You have got to make your voice heard and demand that your freedoms be defended. First and foremost, that this NSA center be removed from San Antonio by force. That needs to be number one on every Texan's list, getting the NSA out of our state. We need to pass our very own Fourth Amendment Protection Act. We need to make it illegal to aid the NSA in spying on American citizens without a warrant from a regular court, not a secret government court where we can't argue for ourselves and protect our rights. We need to take defending our freedom into our own hands. Now, many of you are very patriotic Americans, and many of you are very busy, and I understand that. I, too, am incredibly busy. I work for a living just like you guys. But it is not too much to ask to write a letter, to email your congressman, to call them. None of that is too much to ask. None of it is too much. And that's something that every one of us can get behind. Every one of us can do this, and every one of us can make a difference. Every one of us can fight these socialist, anti-freedom, anti-American people. We can fight them, we can defeat them, and we can win. But it takes every one of us being active. You're like that super secret military sleeper cell. You're like the special ops soldiers that have been waiting to get the green light to go active duty. That's what you are in this fight for our freedom. And I'm telling you, you're activated. You're on. It's time to start working. It's time to start doing your part to help in the fight for freedom. Now, I know you'll get a lot of emails from various people asking for donations to this, that, or the other. Forget that, okay? If you want to donate, that's fine. If you find a group that you feel is great at working in Washington or in Austin or in media campaigns to try and further the cause, if you want to donate to those people, that's fine. I'm not calling you to donate. I don't donate. I am calling on you to make a phone call. I'm calling on you to write a letter. I'm calling on you to visit town halls. I am calling on you to get involved in your government. Now, if you're not involved at the local level, your city commissioners, your city councilman, that kind of stuff, that's fine. I understand it. It can be boring. It can be time-consuming. The meetings are ridiculous. The meetings are long and redundant, and I get it. But it's not too much to ask to send a letter, or at least know the name of your state representative and your state senator. It's not too much to ask that in these elections coming up in 2014, that you know who stands for what. It is not too much to ask that when you vote for who will defend your liberty the best, instead of on one minor issue or the other. This fight is not going to win itself. And people like me, people with a platform, with the Facebook page or the email list or this radio show, and all of us here at Vigilant Liberty Radio, we are only as good as what we can ask you listeners to do. We are only as effective as how many listeners we can get to write their congressman. We are only as effective as the number of listeners we have to show how many people agree with our message. I am only as effective as you allow me to be. Now, I can sit here and I can put together shows every week. I can try and grow this audience, and I can try and do more shows more often, and I can try and get advertisers to where I can make this a full-time thing. Those are things I can do. But none of that is possible without you listeners. None of it is possible without more listeners. And nothing that we talk about here will get accomplished unless you listeners help me accomplish it. We are living in a very dangerous Orwellian time. And the only guardians against it is you. The only warriors here to fight for your freedom is you. The only people who can save our country is you. The only way we will ever have our First Amendment rights restored is if you fight to restore them. The only way we will ever be able to carry a sidearm unimpeded to defend ourselves is if you fight for it. If you fight for an open carry, unrestricted Second Amendment in Texas. The only way we will ever get rid of the NSA is if we in Texas, at the very least, are able to expel the NSA Data Collection Center from our borders. I mean, we have a center here in Texas. The top issue of this governor's campaign coming up should be who will remove the NSA center from San Antonio. In fact, you should every day, be calling, emailing, and writing the gubernatorial candidates and asking, what side are you on? Are you on the Democrat side with Obama and the NSA? Are you on Texas' side? Are you on the side of Texans, on the side of freedom, on the side of liberty, on the side of inalienable Fourth Amendment rights, preventing unreasonable searches and seizures? Which side are you on, Greg Abbott? Which side are you on, Kathy Glass? Which side are you on, Wendy Davis? You've also got to be able to ask your state senator and your state representative. Call their office. They've got people there that you pay tax dollars for this. They've got people in their office that are there to answer the phone and write down what you're talking about. Just put their number in your phone. Save the office number. Just Google, who your representative is. And the state website has a tool where you can put the state website has a thing where you can put your zip code in and you can find out who represents you. And you can get their office numbers, their emails, all that stuff. Google who your representative is. Look it up online. Put the number into your phone. And just once a day around lunchtime or in the mid-afternoon or even in the morning when you get a chance, call their office. Give them a call and demand or suggest or ask or however you want to do it. Call them and say, we need to fight this NSA center in San Antonio. We want this gone. What are you doing about it? My vote hangs on your answer. And if you get the staff member, which likely you will, just tell them, excuse me, but I want the NSA center by San Antonio gone. What is the congressman doing about it? What is the state congressman doing about it? And that's what you should be doing every day. Just take a couple minutes, give them a call. Take a few minutes and shoot an email. You can even copy-paste the same email and send it every day. I don't care. It takes 3 seconds to copy-paste an email or to resend the same email every day. You could even print it out and mail it to them and do that every day if you want. Personally, I wouldn't because of taxes and stamps. But these are options, and you should be doing at least one of them. All right, folks. Hope you've had a great time tonight. It's been good being back on the air. Feel good about 2014. America Our Way is going to be big this year. Have a great week. We'll see you next Wednesday. Be sure to check out the page, facebook.com/AmericaOurWay. See you next time.